Alright, we're back looking at the transformation from grass to perennial nursery bed. And so hopefully now you can kind of see a little bit better where the beds are. It's kind of raised up. Where the paths are, it's kind of dipped down. And it's kind of on the contour of the whole landscape here. I don't know, maybe that comes out, maybe it doesn't. Anyway, we're gonna top the beds with some compost and see how that looks. Okay, so now that the compost is sketched out on top of these beds, hopefully it's a little more clear what's bed and what's pathway, and kind of how that matches up with the contours of the land. And so I just want to talk a little bit about the role of compost in this process. So certainly the compost is decent, crumbly, nutrient-rich soil. Our compost actually has a lot of wood chip in it, so it tends to be, or is probably more fungal as opposed to bacterial, which is, great for the woody perennials that we like to grow. It does fine for the annuals, but we're not an annual vegetable farm, so we, adjust our compost recipe to make the kind of compost that grows the kind of things we want to grow. And so on that note, I just want to mention that the primary role of the compost isn't actually to be a place for seed starting mix. It does that, and it's great, and we'll grow some nice annual crops, maybe some potatoes, turnips, greens, stuff like that. But the primary role is to be an inoculation source for the soil, so that all of those microbes that are in the compost, those fungi, those bacteria, archaea, all the little invertebrate animals, the roly-polies, the worms, all of these organisms that do the work of decomposition and liberating the nutrients to be available for the plants, comes from the compost. And then it seeps down into the bed of wood chips, and also, in a sense, up from the grass that we covered with the wood chips. And that spiking of the wood chip bed with the compost, microbiome essentially, is what really kickstarts the decomposition and makes the soil that we want for growing these woody perennial plants. And so that's, today we'll probably seed it out to some, just a cover crop mix, maybe some clover, some buckwheat, and some turnip, just because that's what we have around. And we'll let that grow for a little until we get around to seeding it out more intentionally. I would like to put a bunch of potatoes in here, but it's still a little chilly for potatoes. So who knows, maybe we'll get some, turnip greens, and that'd be nice. And then nitrogen fixation from the clover and the buckwheat. Just turn that back into the soil when we want to plant something else. And yeah, then when the potatoes come out in the fall, we'll put garlic in some of these beds, and then next year we'll turn that into woody perennial nursery production when it's nice and broken down. And that pattern of potato to garlic to woody perennials is something that our friend Sean has talked about a lot on his channel, Edible Acres. So check out that link here. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Anyway, yeah, compost, primary role here is inoculating the wood chip to get the kind of fungally soil that we want. All right, see you next time.